As the dust of the India-Pakistan war settled, it seems the Indian military not just smashed 11 Pakistani air bases and 9 terror camps at will, it also secured a huge intelligence victory over its puppet master, China.
वज़ीर-ए-आज़म साहब, हिंदुस्तान ने अपने बैलिस्टिक मिसाइल अभी लॉन्च किए हैं। एक नूर खान एयरपोर्ट पे गिरा है।
What's worse is that Pakistan has actually managed to lose China's highly secretive PL15 missile, which has turned out to be a multi-million-dollar firecracker. This is a huge intelligence victory for India over both Pakistan and China, and a free transfer of technology. After failing to hit any Indian fighter jet during the recent air war, an almost intact PL-15 wreckage was recovered by Indian forces from Punjab's Hoshiarpur district. It had not only failed to hit any Indian jet, but also failed to self-destruct. Now, global powers including the United States, Australia, United Kingdom, Canada, and New Zealand, or the Five Eyes, have approached India to gain access to this Chinese missile and study just how India managed to neutralize the Chinese technology. Even France and Japan are said to have reached out to India to gain access to this Chinese missile wreckage. The Indian Air Force has rejected all Pakistani fake propaganda by claiming all strikes were executed without the loss of Indian assets. While Rafale manufacturer Dassault Aviation too has not made any official comment on any such supposed crash. Pakistani claims of shooting down a Rafale were meant to boost Chinese defense talks and accelerate the sales of the PL-15 missile. But where is the evidence?
It's all over the social media, or Indian social media, not on our social media.
Those lies have been rubbished now by a French defense experts in an interview to France 24. Pakistani social media users pointed to this image, claiming it was a Rafale crash evidence in Wuyan village in Kashmir. However, French expert claims that this is just an external fuel tank, and further study of the wreckage shows it was manufactured in 1984, much before the Rafale even took flight. So while India has verifiable satellite images and proof of hitting multiple Pakistani air bases, all Pakistan has are memes and fake news on social media.
I can't hear you properly. Could you increase the volume, please?
Xavier Teidelmaner, a French aviation and defense expert, claims, quote, "These images are not proof that a plane was shot down. It shows a drop tank. When a jet goes on a mission, once it has used its fuel, it will lighten its load and drop its tank. It's something that planes intentionally release during their missions," unquote. So now that it's been virtually proven that Pakistan did not shoot down any Indian fighter jet while India was bombing Pakistan's air bases at will, it brings us to the other important question. Just how did Pakistan lose China's most prized military asset? The PL-15 was meant to scare off any American intervention when the CCP launches an attack to capture Taiwan. Touted as a counterpart to the American AIM-120D, the PL-15 has failed its first test by fire. With a speed topping Mach 5 and an operational range of 200 to 300 kilometers, it is claimed to blend maneuverability and speed. On the other hand, India's counter to the PL-15 is the Meteor missile, beyond visual range missile exceeding speeds of Mach 4 and range of 140 to 200 kilometers. Now, what makes the Meteor stand out is that it has features of a ramjet engine, which enables it to sustain high speeds throughout its flight. This is exactly what the PL-15 falls short of. Despite achieving Mach 5 speed, it cannot sustain the speed throughout its flight, reportedly. Meteor's advanced propulsion system also provides it a larger no-escape zone, while it's integrated to the Rafale as well as Gripen Eurofighter Typhoon as well. This can potentially be one of the reasons why France is looking at Chinese weapon debris, because its Meteor missile, deployed on India's Rafale jets, is considered the main competitor of China's PL-15E missiles. Now, stealth jet like the J-20 or the J-35 fighter in itself is useless unless it has a missile that can knock out enemy aircraft. The PL-15 was meant to be just that. It was meant to be unbeatable in the air. But now it has been turned into junk by Indian Integrated Air Defense Grid. So how did India do it? Did Pakistan Air Force J-10s or J-17s just fail to lock on to Indian fighter jets? Or did the Chinese missile technology fail? And the most important question, did Pakistan buy a cheap copy of these missiles from Alibaba or Temu? Reportedly, multiple PL-15s were found lying, some nearly intact, in fields across western India. Either the Indian defense system spoofed or jammed them, or they simply fell down after missing their mark. Either way, the wreckage of these Chinese missiles is now in high demand, with multiple Western nations, including the Five Eyes led by the United States, approaching India to study these Chinese missiles. The Five Eyes wish to grab this unique opportunity to study key piece of Chinese military tech. Now, this includes gaining knowledge of the missile's radar signature, motor composition, guidance technology, and possibly the elusive architecture of its ASA radar. Studying the missile parts will help these nations upgrade their own missile defense systems and develop countermeasures against future threats posed by the Chinese PLA. Remember, the intelligence sharing network between the Five Eyes nations came into existence as they have always expressed concerns about Beijing's actions, particularly regarding espionage, cyber threats, and intellectual property theft. DG Air Operations Air Marshal A.K. Bharti confirmed on the 12th of May that the Chinese PL-15 missiles failed as they were neutralized. He claims the missiles were fired by Pakistan's JF-17 fighter jets. But China should not feel heartbroken. It wasn't the only country to lose its key technology, which was in the hands of Pakistanis. Even wreckage of Turkish drones and loitering munitions have been recovered as they too failed against the Indian Iron Shield. Meanwhile, a Pakistani Shaheen ballistic missile was also intercepted by India before it could reach New Delhi. Following this, Indian Air Force hit 11 Pakistani air bases right across Pakistan, rendering them useless as verified by satellite data.
24 मुकामात को हिट किया आज़ाद कश्मीर में, पाकिस्तान में, बहावलपुर के अंदर, मुरीदके में.
India launched Operation Sindoor to eliminate terror bases deep inside Pakistan after the shocking terror attack in Pahalgam, Kashmir, where a Pakistan-based and banked terror group killed 26 Hindu tourists simply based on their religion. In response, India eliminated top leadership of the LET and JEM, including the culprits behind Daniel Pearl's death and the hijackers of the Kandahar plane hijack. But Pakistan military was openly seen standing shoulder to shoulder with designated global extremists. The Pakistani military, its intelligence agency ISI, and such extremist groups are deeply intertwined and integrated. And that is now plain for the world to see. Pakistan is a failed terror state whose nukes are in danger of falling in the hands of such groups any day. The Modi government has made it clear acts of terror will now be treated as acts of war, and the Indus Water Treaty will remain suspended unless Islamabad corrects its ways. At the moment, it's pure fantasy to expect Pakistan to reject its own evil dark ideology. Some people just do not see any logic. You tell them the earth is a sphere, but they will insist that the world is flat. Pakistan is free to believe its own lies and win the meme war. But in a military confrontation with India, Islamabad surrendered in the very first round and then called New Delhi to seek a ceasefire. But what do you believe? Why did Chinese tech fail in the recent India-Pakistan war? Leave a comment with your opinion, hit the like button and subscribe to Inconnect News.